Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here live at the Big Butler Fairgrounds. Chase Steinman, CS Pulling Promotions, and the legendary Brad Nogee. So, Brad, we're getting ready for the Big Butler Fair here in a couple weeks. We just wanted to hop on, give you guys some updates about some big things coming, and we do have a big announcement as well towards the end of the broadcast here today. But, Brad, what do you think? We're a couple weeks till showtime.
Oh, this is always a great event here. The club's been involved with the Butler Fair for many years, produced a lot of events over the years here. The last few years, primarily antique tractor pulls. Over the last couple, we've picked up some dates. Last year we had 2 evening shows in here. Always a big one on July the 4th, and we're doing it again this year. So glad to be back, and we get to work together and do 3 nights in here this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess probably for the viewers at home that are just tuning in, haven't really kept up with the news, Western PA, Tractor and Truck Pullers, Inc., the new member state of CS Pulling Promotions. So the goal is to team up, work together at some of these other events, and I think the partnership's going well so far. So,
yeah, we haven't got to get anything in yet because of the weather, but we were scheduled for one there at the beginning of June over at the Butler Farm Show. Got rained out, so this is going to be our first big event to kick off the year here. So real excited. A lot of pullers excited to get out here and hook onto the sled and get going for the season. A lot of rainouts.
Yeah, a lot of rainouts so far. We were actually setting up here and setting up in the rainstorm. Now, luckily, I think the rain's going to go through, and we're not going to have any rain for the big event coming up. So that's what we're hoping.
Yeah, it's looking good so far for the fair. So, we're able to get this track. This is a pretty forgiving track, and with the pit areas being on the horse track here, it really works out well. We can take a lot of rain before we have to call the event here, so it works out great for us.
Yeah, I know when we were setting up, you and I were talking a little bit about your event last year that got rained out. What were you, partial way through?
So the evening show for July the 4th, we had same 4 classes we have again this year. So we had 2 of our tough farm classes, light and heavy tough farm, super stock trucks, and the 3.6 Pro Street semis. We were on the final class of the evening, the 3.6 semis. About halfway through the class, the rain began to come down. The guys were determined they wanted to hook. By the time we finished the pull, it was just absolutely pouring down rain, standing water on the track. We just buried the sled in the middle of the track when we were done. We had to tow the last truck off the track, so it was fun. The crowd hung in there. They had a great time since the roof over the grandstands here. Even people sitting down in the open part of the grandstands, they were having a great time getting to watch the show in the rain. So.
That's what's fun about this venue. We're set up here under the covered grandstands, and it's perfect. I mean, it's sprinkling a little bit on and off here today, but the covered grandstands makes it nice. It keeps everyone out of the heat. So, yeah, that event definitely. You had a good turnout for that show too.
Oh yeah, great class of trucks and tractors. Early in the week we had pulled some street gas, street diesel type stuff to open up the fair, and kind of worked the schedule around a little different this year since we've got the 3 nights back to back. So. Still going to have a lot of classes in here. We were able to get, I think, quite a variety of vehicles coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go through the breakdown here of all the classes. And, of course, you guys are going to be in here Thursday, July 4th. But we could start with Tuesday, July 2nd, 7 o'clock start time. We're going to be around the 410 Super Stock trucks, Super Farm, Hot Farm tractors, 2.6 Pro Street diesel trucks, showroom gas trucks, and that'll be the Western PA class. Pro stock gas trucks too, so nice lineup for the first night, Tuesday, July 2nd. Wednesday, July 3rd, 7 o'clock p.m. start time, the Super Semi trucks, limited pro tractors, performance street trucks, small block modified trucks, open street diesel trucks, and we do have an added class, and we'll release that towards the end of the broadcast. We'll keep everyone waiting.
I think a lot of people are going to be excited for that one. That's a really good class, so I think a lot of people will be excited to hear that one.
Yep. So you want to talk about July 4th, Thursday?
So July 4th. July 4th, we'll start at 6 o'clock. We move that show a little earlier because of the fireworks. They do the fireworks here July 4th in the evening. So we'll be running 4 of our Western PA classes, the light and heavy tough farm tractors, super stock trucks, which that super stock truck, that is a 2-day hook for these guys here. They get to hook on the 2nd and the 4th. So we're going to do a special shootout, the Big Butler Fair Super Stock Shootout. Got a buddy, Big J Synthetics. He's a local AMSOIL dealer, and he's going to be donating some goodies for the winner of that 2-day shootout deal. So, a little mini challenge for the guys that are here for both days.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I know you and I talked a bit about doing more of the shootout challenges with these 2-day hooks and hoping to bring in more of the 410 Superstock trucks just with having a 2-day hook.
Yep.
So, and I mean, going through the lineup, I mean, we have a heck of a show planned, every night. I don't know if I could pick just one night to come.
No, and the other class we'll have on the July 4th to round that night out, the 3.6 Pro Street semis. Great class of semi trucks making some awesome horsepower, but they are still able to go up and down the road. So it's a really neat class to watch. One of the definite local favorites is Mike Adams with the truck he calls As Is, always a local favorite
and
here.
Of course, a big sponsor of the club as well.
Absolutely. We get to unveil the all-new look on the Pullers Blues Mac here at the Big Butler Fair. Mike was gracious enough to take the sled down to his shop over the winter, and he was did a lot of body work, and a bunch of guys from the club went down there, helped him out, and the sled looks really good. So the all-new paint job, and Mike was behind a lot of that, supplying all the paint and materials to get that done.
Yeah, it definitely looks good. I know you guys posted some pictures on your social media as well. But, huge shout-out to Mike Adams, Adams Petroleum. Definitely a big supporter of the club as well as CS Pulling Promotions. I know he's been with us since the very beginning back in 2022 whenever we started. He was him, Josh Yost, Audie Pence, some of those guys come out and run. Just a good group of guys.
Yep.
And a good class to watch, too.
Oh, yeah, fun class of trucks. And like I said, those were the guys that, they stuck it out through the rain here, and it was just absolute mud. And, if you've watched that class, those guys like to keep their trucks shined up nice, and they didn't care that day. They wanted to go whether it was raining or not.
Absolutely. Yeah, speaking of semi-trucks, the super semis back here, talk about a great class. I think this year we're pushing almost 10 trucks signed up for points with CS Pulling Promotions in the super semi division. And I did just get word out of Ohio that Gillettos are going to be bringing their 2 trucks, and they're hoping to get those back together for the big event along with some of our other points competitors. So super semi class is going to be definitely fan favorite as well.
Oh, yeah, that's always a crowd favorite, the super semis. Far from street, definitely far from street, well over that 3,000 horsepower mark. The 20,000-pound super semis coming in, definitely a crowd favorite. And as you said, Joe Giletto with Sneaky Pete, and Vinny with the truck. He's had it, 2 years now?
Yeah, I believe 2 years.
Full. Yeah, that's a good running Mac Superliner there. So along with some other crowd favorites, definitely going to be a good solid class of super semis here.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at our lineup, we see the Maximus Prime trucks sign up for points. This will be the second year for them, and they've been with us since the very beginning of our super semi division. So Maximus Prime 1 and 2. I do believe that Joey Bonner is going to be behind the wheel of one of the trucks, and more than likely Dale Francis or Dick Bonner himself behind the wheel of the other one. So the V8 Mac's always a fan favorite as well. So.
Oh, yeah, the big V8 Mac power always gives the cat a run for its money. Definitely the class has, everybody thinks the class has gotten dominated by the cat until the big V8 Mac shows up. So it'll be interesting to see who will come out on top here at the Butler Fair.
Absolutely. And speaking of some of the super semis, we even have a new super semi out on the division too, Matt Gabriel's truck. So he signed up for points with the new truck, Monkey Business.
Monkey Business, yeah. That'll be interesting to see that truck. Matt competed with the club for the last couple of years in the 3.6 Pro Street division with their Black Peterbilt that they've run in the family for a number of years in different circuits. So it'd be great to see him move up to the super semi class.
Yeah, the Loudon's definitely strong trucks in the super semi division. They're gonna be bringing Moody Blue out, Grape Ape, and of course the all new Monkey Business. So just a lot of great classes. Definitely don't want to miss this show here at the Big Butler Fair.
Yeah, definitely that July 2nd show. Super stock trucks. Expecting a big crowd of those here as well. Some of the local favorites, Martin Pulling Team, Ryan and Tyler, should have their trucks hopefully out here. Sam McGill, another local puller with the Predator 4. Definitely one of the crowd favorites, Luke Simeon, expected to be here with his truck out of the blue. Ron Jack with the Bounty Hunter. Good, solid class of trucks. Very, very competitive. There's definitely no clear winner going in. There's definitely some favorites in the class, but never know who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, again, that July 2nd show, Hot Farm, Super Farm, another class with a lot of local competitors, some very tough tractors in that combo class. Some of the local hot farms, you got Brian McConnell expected to be here with the Milkman's Mojo, and out of Newcastle, Corey Pirog with his Getting Lucky tractor. And then on the Super Farm side, expecting the McFarland Pulling Team with their tractors Untamed and the Rutten Buck, as well as we'll call it a local tractor because it spends some of its time, the Dan Park and Jeff Solly entry Saturday Night Hooker. The tractor spends some of its time, in Lawrence County and spends some of its time up in Jefferson County. So we'll call that a local tractor, but a lot of good tractors coming for that class, and it's going to be very, very competitive. Those guys have really got their equipment dialed in that class.
Well, and that class has just turned out to be a super competitive division, running the Super Farms and Hot Farms together. Definitely makes for a good class and seems to be very competitive. I know it depends on the track. Looser track or a tighter track can depend. Make that, depends on which tractor will be at the top. So Super Farms and Hot Farms combo class, definitely one to come see. So
yeah, it's real interesting. With the Hot Farms on the 20-inch tires, it really varies from track to track. Smaller cubic inch, bigger turbo with the smaller tires, versus the Super Farm with the bigger 24-inch tires, and they're running the bigger cubic inch, but they are limited to that smaller charger, and that really equalizes the power out between those two groups of tractors.
Yeah, and I know you and I were talking, and it seems like the horsepower between the Hot Farms and Super Farms awfully close now. The major difference is going to be the torque between the two. So
Right, yeah, and that's all in that turbocharger where the Hot Farms got that bigger turbocharger. The limiting factor that keeps the Super Farms pulled in there is the limit on the turbocharger. Definitely that smaller turbo. You can only move so much air through that engine.
Yep.
And, 2.6 Pro Street diesel trucks, another crowd favorite. Everybody loves to see the diesel pickup trucks. Who's some of our local trucks in that class?
Well, we're going through the list. I know we have Anthony Byrne with the Bad Bowtie truck. They've been running, getting that truck tuned in. Did talk to Ron King, the legendary Ron King. I'm sure he'll be watching.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll check it out at some point, so we'll talk about Ron.
Yeah, we got to talk up Ron. So I know he's planning on coming out. And then we also have Brittany Bischoff, one of our only female drivers in the class so far. I know there's a new truck coming out. Renee's going to have her truck out, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to see a debut here.
Yeah,
Butler.
we'll see. And speaking of Renee, Matt Deal, of course, still working on truck there out of Mercer. So a lot of trucks right in the region, and I think that's going to be a good class. Looking at the results from last year especially, just a solid class. You always get 8 to 10 consistent trucks, and that's what we like to see. So.
And another new truck in that class, Brian Dorr with the Bad Habits
Almost
truck.
Forgot Brian.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be texting me as well if I forget Brian.
Yeah, don't forget Brian. Another local, a lot of trucks, in the Tri-County area here in that class. So it's a good, solid class of trucks, and again, very, very competitive. It's anybody's game.
Yeah, and looking at Brian's truck, that's impressive. I mean, a lot of times you see the trucks come out. They make their first couple hooks, and it's iffy, just trying to figure out the truck. He come out swinging. I mean, he's definitely at the top, and he's going to be competitive this year. So
Absolutely.
So Apex Diesel, Full Throttle Performance, some of those guys behind Brian Dorr. So.
Yep, yeah, they've built a real solid truck there, and as you said, he come out of the gate swinging. So as he gets that truck dialed in, he's going to be right up there with the leaders, no doubt.
We got your showroom gas trucks as well.
Oh yeah, showroom gas. A lot of trucks signed up with the club this year. I think we've got 8 or 9 points trucks signed up for that class. Good, solid class. Again, Ryan Martin with the Wild West Express in that class. Always a strong runner. And Austin Angert signed up for points this year again. He was our points champion last year. A lot of good trucks in there, good mix of trucks. And these are trucks the guys are driving up and down the road every day. So if you got a truck and you want to come out and try it out, that showroom gas class is a really good, solid class. Kind of reworked the rules a little bit over the winter on that class, and it is meant for the daily driver. And you can really compete with some of these purpose-built trucks. They're not the rules allow very little modification to those trucks. So we've seen trucks that are daily drivers come out and they're right in the hang of things with the trucks that are more purpose built for the class.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you got a truck that's not necessarily street driven, that's of course the Pro Stock truck class.
Yeah, Pro Stocks. Still have to keep the DOT tires. They are allowed the front hanging weight, open drive line, big cubic inch motors on those. We've talked about the super stock trucks. They're limited to 410 cubic inch. They do run a cut pulling tire, whereas you get into the pro stock trucks, big cubic inch. They are allowed that open drive line, but they're limited with those DOT tires, what they can do with all that power. They really have to get it to the ground.
Absolutely. So that rounds out the Tuesday, July 2nd. Moving on to July 3rd, of course, we already talked about the super semi trucks. And how about the limited pro tractors?
Oh, limited pro tractors. So, anybody that's familiar, we were talking about the Super Farm. For a number of years, the limited pro Super Farm was a combo class. Super Farm, like I said, you're very limited. It's a national set of rules. Those guys were limited with their turbochargers. These guys with these limited pro class, they have figured out these A-pumps on these tractors, big turbochargers under the hood. Some of them pushing right around 6-inch turbochargers with these A-pump engines, 540 cubic inch. Very, very tough class. The Graham pulling team, Ryan Graham and Kayla Graham out of Greensburg down there with the Blue Reaper and Billet Blue. Definitely one that always is a crowd favorite to watch is Greg Farringer, Smoking John. He competes in the light pro class once in a while, but he is expected to be here at Butler and run with the limited pros.
Yeah, we did talk to him a couple weeks ago, and he did tell us he's got his P-pump on now, running with the light pros, but he's going to be throwing on the A-pump. And I guess we say throwing on, but it's not really that easy,
yeah,
is it?
it's not a 5-minute job, but, the tractor was set up for Louisville, obviously, to go down there and run with the light pros with the P-pump, starting the year out with a couple P-pump hooks on there with the light pro, but Greg will make the switch over, and we'll see him here in the limited pro division. As well as tractor formerly campaigned by Larry Farringer, last year bought by Gavin Stort. No name on the tractor for this year, but many will recognize it as the old Still Smoking tractor.
Yeah, definitely a super competitive class, and we also have a couple tractors coming out of East. Hopefully some of the Snyder County guys are going to come out and join us as well. So
that'll be exciting to get some new guys coming into the area to see if the locals can hold on to the lead or if the new guys in town can take over. And one group of tractors that's not particularly local, but they have run up this way a lot, expecting the Williams tractors out of Virginia.
I think we may see them along with Austin Martin as well.
Yeah, another local tractor out of Volant up there. We say Volant's the pulling capital of the world. There's a lot of tractors that live in that region up there. And, that's a good, strong running A-pump tractor as well as the Buck-Up tractor from down in the Aliquippa area down there. Very, very strong running John Deere. A former Super Farm made the step to go to the limited pro class.
Well, and talking about the limited pros quick, we've been running the super farms and hot farms together, but that doesn't mean that a super farm still can't run with the limited pros.
Correct.
Our rules do allow it, so if any of the super farm tractors do want to stay over overnight, they're more than welcome, and of course running with the limited pro tractors. So it's going to be a good class. Looking at the performance street trucks up next.
Performance street trucks, yeah, these guys are they're kind of a crossover. We talked about the pro stocks being an open drive line, big horsepower trucks. Still a lot of horsepower in these performance street trucks, but they are not allowed any front hanging weight. So that changes the setup a little bit. Now they are allowed to place weight in the front of the frame rails, and that it has to be hidden. They are allowed to add ballast to the front of the truck, but it has to be hidden. So you lose that advantage of getting that weight out in front of the truck where you can really plant those front tires. So it's definitely a driver class. You have to be able to put that power to the ground.
Yeah, performance street trucks, always a good class. And then our small block modified trucks, formerly 4,500 pounds, now moving to 5,000 pounds.
Yeah, so 5,000 pound small block limited to 360 cubic inches. Now, there's a little bit of difference with this class. Typically something you don't see in truck and tractor pulling, they are allowed to run a stock car dirt track tire. Most of the trucks, it's anybody's game. There's a few of the trucks running DOT-style tires, but some of the guys have made the jump over and run those dirt track tires, and they say, some guys say one's better, the other's better. I've seen where it can go either way, and I think some of that's track conditions and how they're using those trucks and making sure they've got them set up right for the track.
Yeah, I think we could say that's probably the only pulling division to allow those dirt track tires, probably.
Yeah, I think currently on any of the circuits that I'm familiar with, that's probably the only one that's running those stock car tires, at least in this region.
So moving on to open street diesel trucks. This is a fun class.
Oh, fun class of trucks. Now, when we say open street, there's some limitations. They either can run a 2.5 Charger with a map groove enhancement or a 2.6 smoothbore Charger. Again, no hanging weight on the front of these trucks. Many of them are driven in. They just don't meet the rules for the showroom-style diesel class. These guys are very strong competitors. A lot of trucks signed up in that class. Phil Ketzel out of Slippery Rock, local truck there. Top runner. I think he picked up a win here last year, actually, and he's a very tough competitor in that class. Also, we'll see Travis Rittenauer with a Plain Hookie truck and top runner in the class as well. And Seth Cotton with a truck coming out in the class this year. So far looks pretty strong and going to be a really competitive class of those open street diesel trucks here.
Absolutely. Moving on to July 4th. Light tough farm tractors, light and heavy tough farm tractors.
Yeah, light and heavy tough farm. So the light tough farm, these tractors, they look like what you typically see out in the field working. They are far from stock, though. They have a 3,000 RPM limit, turbocharger limit on those. They are not allowed to run a full cut-style pulling tire. They'll be running what you would typically see, normal ag tire, but definitely purpose-built tractors. I don't think any of them are going to take them home and work the field at home. And, that lighter weight tractor, very competitive, solid class of tractors. Chad McConnell out of Volant with a good running tractor in that class. Richard Peoples with the Dead Reckoning.
See some of the Deutsch tractors out as well out of Emlenton.
Yeah, the something you don't see very often is the Deutsch tractors, air-cooled engines on those. Very unique-looking tractors when you see them on the track. And they have two in the light tough farm division and one in the heavy tough farm division. So really diverse sheet metal in that class. It's a great class. A lot of local tractors. Paul Blinn from down in Fombell. Expect to see him out. A lot of competitors. Doctor's Orders tractor.
And I know we're probably forgetting a couple. We don't have that wrote down. But there's
so many tractors in that class that are just, that is a very local class here and a lot of tough competitors. Very strong class. Rick Chavine from down towards Hookstown area down there with the Cummins Powered International. So they do allow the Cummins to be running that class. That is a factory replacement engine for those tractors. So the Cummins, they're allowed to run a P-pump on the engine. So same thing with the heavy tough farm. Very competitive class of tractors. It's a stepping stone to get into the hot farm division. These tractors, many of them did compete in the hot farm division probably 10 or 15 years ago, and they've kind of built a class where they stayed. The hot farm tractors have progressed on in power, and these guys were able to keep a good solid class of tractors going in former hot farm. Now they run the heavy tough farm.
Yeah, moving on, the Pro Street semis as well, and super stock trucks, and so we do have our shootout as well. We don't want people to forget about our 410 super stock shootout.
Yeah, the 410 super stock shootout, that's going to be real exciting. Like I said, we talked about the super stock trucks earlier being here on the 2nd, and they'll be back on the 4th, and that 2-day shootout brought to you by Big J Synthetics. Real solid class of trucks, and they'll get to see two different sleds too. So it's almost like going to two different pulls. They're going to be on the same track, but two different sleds. They'll be on, I believe it's Kraus.
Yep, Kraus.
On 2nd and 3rd is here for our sled, and then on the 4th we'll be using the Western PA, the Pullers Blues Max. So get to mix it up a little bit on the sled. Some different things, definitely different strategies. The two sleds are night and day different for the pullers, so they get to make the adjustments, and that will really shake that leaderboard up over the 2-day period.
Absolutely. And for all the fans at home, if you're not able to make it out, of course, we want to see you here in the stands. But if you're not able to make it out, you can watch live, Dirt Vortex TV. We'll have our results as well posted online. But Dirt Vortex TV, you can catch all the action live. I do believe Brad's going to be doing some announcing. I'll be running around doing some announcing. We're going to have some trackside interviews coming at you. So a lot of great action, and of course the fair's going on, so we got the midway, we got the rides, all kinds of good stuff here at the Big Butler Fair.
Yeah, definitely Big Butler Fair, known for large carnival, a lot of rides here. So if you want to bring the whole family out, there's definitely a lot to do here. Lots of great food out there on the Midway. Stuff here to do. So you want to get here early, check out the grounds, get some time to walk around, get something to eat here, and then make sure you get in the grandstands because these do fill up quick in here. And it looks like a lot of room now as we're sitting here, but they do fill up quick. So you want to get in here. A lot of pulling action coming your way these 3 days. So definitely something you don't want to miss.
Yeah, I guess we could go into our big announcement that everyone's been waiting for. We do have an added class for that Wednesday, July 3rd. Do I have my days mixed up?
I think it's actually the second is on Wednesday, so we're Wednesday,
Thursday, Friday.
Yeah,
so I do apologize for that.
Yeah, we're Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
So it would be our Thursday night show. We have the big announcement. We have added class pro modified trucks sanctioned through CS Pulling Promotions. I know Eddie Zedrick approached the fair board and said, we'd love to run there. What can we do to make that happen? And Eddie went out and got some sponsorship. So definitely a huge shout out to Eddie Zedrick from Zedrick Pulling Team. Went out and got the sponsorship, the capital to make it happen. So it's going to be sanctioned through CS Pulling Promotions. I know I did talk to Burkhoffs. They're planning on bringing their 2 trucks. Eddie Zedrick, lots of great guys. Jesse Warren also coming out.
Yep, Jesse sponsoring the class for the event too. If you're not familiar with the Pro Mod division, awesome class of 4-wheel drive trucks. And do let some 2-wheel drives in there as well, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive action, but it's not all diesel. And it's not all gas. You get a little bit of a combination. Supercharged motors on alcohol, which would be Eddie Zedrick with the Thunderbolt, the local crowd favorite. Jesse Warren coming out of Warren Diesel Injection up there in the Meadville area with the truck he calls Shark Bait, diesel power stroke under the hood. Typically when we think the diesel at the higher level, we think the Cummins. Jesse is just absolutely phenomenal with those power strokes and making those things run. And really strong competitive truck. Another truck that Jesse works on, Hand Grenade.
Yep.
Expected to be here as well, right?
Absolutely. And looking at our 2.6 class, Warren Diesel Injection also works on a lot of those trucks. Noah Hostetler, Ron King. So Warren Diesel Injection, they know how to make a 6.0 run.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And a good, solid class of trucks, mixed between the diesel, the alcohol supercharged, and as we talked about, the 2-wheel drive with the blower motors as well. So definitely a good mix of trucks. Hasn't been here for a couple years at the Big Butler Fair, so a lot of people will be excited to see that class, I think, with the Pro Mods coming in here.
Absolutely. Sanctioned through CS Pulling Promotions, of course. Like I said, huge shout out to Eddie Zedrick and all those guys that put up money for that class. We do have the full list of sponsors coming out shortly, but of course some of those guys we did list off throwing in money for that division as well. So
yep.
Definitely a good night to come out, see those. Pro Modified Trucks, Super Semi Trucks, Limited Pros. That's all happening on Thursday, July 3rd. But, well, what do you think? We're getting down a couple weeks until showtime. And
yeah, just under 2 weeks. Right now the sun's shining. Looks good here. Actually, I'd like to go pull it right now. I think we can get a track built. Great track crew here at the Big Butler Fair. Mike Roenig and his group always able to put together a great track here. Thanks to Rod Schubert comes in, brings his disc in here, works a track up for the club, and does a great job with the track work. And it is really a good facility, good solid pits. We do recommend if you got a tractor trailer, though, get here early because it does fill up quick out on the horse track. There is some overflow parking down below there for the pullers coming in. Typically don't like to get the semis down in that overflow parking, but definitely lots of parking here on the horse track and good solid ground. Don't have to usually worry about the weather being a factor, and it's great facility here. Great to work with the Butler Fair. We've worked with them for a number of years. Like I said, the club's been producing shows here clear back into the 80s, so it's a great facility. Pullers come from a long ways here. There's been a lot of big names on this track, and looking forward to seeing a bunch of them here this year.
Yeah, a lot of hype behind this event, and looking forward, I know we also have our Western PA Truck and Tractor Pullers is going to be helping out with our event the last weekend in June. They're at the Venango County Fairgrounds. We're going to be taking in the 4,500-pound, now 5,000-pound small block modified trucks, and the 2.6 Pro Street diesel trucks, and that's going to be 1 week before the Big Butler Fair, so that's going to be next weekend. So we're going to have a busy couple weeks here.
Oh, yeah, definitely a lot of great pulling coming up. We're hitting that season now where it's going to be just constant. So everybody, I guess, stay following on the social media, the Facebook. Usually try to keep the schedule updated on there, where we're going to be, what's going on. You want to know if the event's going or not, that's definitely one of the places you want to check out. It's the Facebook page, Western PA Pullers or CS Pulling Promotions. We try to keep that up to date so everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, and if anyone has any comments, we are live, so feel free to drop a comment, and we'll watch out for that here nearing the end of our broadcast. We're going to watch out for some of those comments, and if you guys have any questions, more than happy to answer those for you. But the sun's shining now, and we'll take this. So.
Yeah. We were here earlier, like you said, setting up. We got a pretty good rain come through earlier today, but looking great for Fair Week. Real excited. Like I said, a lot of pullers anticipating this event. Also on July 4th, it's kind of a doubleheader. We actually start the morning off at 10 o'clock here. We pull farm stock antique tractors. One of our big divisions we pull is the 10-mile-an-hour naturally aspirated. We kind of call them our too-hot-to-farm tractors. Good, solid group of tractors. They're limited to a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit, but very, very competitive. Some classic tractors in that class that were around in the anybody that's familiar with the old mod stock days. Some tractors that were sitting in barns, and guys said, I want to try something out, so they put this 10-mile-an-hour class together, and it's a real good, solid class, and we always get a huge turnout of antique and stock tractors here for the Big Butler Fair. So that'll start off 10 o'clock in the morning on July 4th, so kind of a double shot of pulling that day if you're into stock tractors and want to come out and watch pulling in the morning, and make sure you get a good seat for the evening show.
Yeah, make a whole day out of it. And I do believe there's fireworks Friday night as well.
Yes, fireworks Friday night after the pull. That's why we have to start at 6 o'clock, so we're done and out of here, so we can get everything packed up before the fireworks. But, beautiful fireworks show they always do here at the Big Butler Fair. We want to thank the Big Butler Fair. They are always great to work with. Clint, he's Clint Sahili, great guy to work with from the Butler Fair. Harold Dunn, we get to work with those guys, and they're always excited to see what we can bring them every year. And I think this year we brought them quite a show, so it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know they've been super accommodating. We talked about doing a talk show, and I know you even mentioned we have some stuff we're doing later on tonight. You're like, well, let's just head over to the Butler Fairgrounds, and we'll do it there. And ended up being a nice night. And, of course, like to thank everyone that made it happen tonight. So.
Yeah, it was the fair was more than accommodating to get us in here, so it's great to work with the fair, and as always, we're looking forward to it. Like I said, great group here. Always, we need something to work the track. They've got lots of equipment here. There's no shortage of equipment. They'll do whatever we need to make sure we put on the best show we can. We want to make sure the pullers have an excellent pulling surface, and they work hard to do that.
Absolutely. And, of course, if you guys have any questions, we are nearing the end of our broadcast. You can always drop a comment or reach out to either Brad or myself, and happy to answer any questions. All of our perfs as well, we can answer those questions. And the actual class lineup won't be determined until probably the day of or shortly before.
Yeah, everybody always says, well, what's your pulling order? Well, I like to look and see what we've got here, It's best, with the weather always, especially this year with the way the weather's been, sometimes, you say, well, I'd like to run this class first, but I just know with the track conditions it's not going to be favorable. So you switch it to the later on. You think the track's going to get better, and, so that's got a lot to do with it, the track conditions and the vehicles that are there. You want to make sure you give everybody a good shot. And if you're going to put a class out there and they're going to really work that track up, you want to make sure you save that for later on.
Yep, so of course, I'd like to thank everyone for watching here. Like I said, if you have any other questions, reach out to Brad or myself. Be happy to answer them, and we hope to see everyone out here at the Big Butler Fairgrounds in just a couple weeks.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you, guys.